I'll even admit though, I struggle. I feel like I got some type of anxiety, and I probably think it's from smoking weed a little bit. I mean, did you ever have anxiety, and have you felt like it's surpassed a little bit since you stopped smoking weed?
Bro, I was so depressed. I think for the longest time, I was angry all the time, bro. I was
Yeah.
angry. I would go to training angry. I was just mad all the time, mad at the world, mad at myself. I was like, um, no, for sure, bro. For sure. I was anxious for sure. I think it was the weed and just all the things I was doing. But yeah, for sure. I think it was a culmination of all that, maybe not just the weed. But yeah, it was the stuff I was doing for sure. I felt anxious. I was depressed, bro. Like, and like, I think that's the reason why, like, like I said, I got dumped in the relationship, and I was going through all that, bro. It was hard. It was a hard time, like just last year, bro. That was like probably one of the hardest years, but it was also one of the best years because I started fighting in MMA, which had been my dream for so long. So it was kind of like a little bit of both, bro. I was like depressed, anxious. I was fighting at the same time, so I was getting the highs of fighting, but I also felt like super low. I was sad. I was depressed. I was crying. I would go fight, and I would like after the fight, I'd come home and I would just be crying. I would just be mad still, bro. I'd be like mad. So it was like a dark times, bro. Really dark times, but yeah, I kind of found my way out of that. But yeah, no, for sure, it was like the weed,
And you
probably the
think
weed.
so you think stopping smoking seemed to make it like more clear for you to like be more emotionally stable in a way?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. And like, don't get me wrong. I think there's benefit to smoking weed. Like, I think like I like it helped me sleep a lot of times. Like, I would smoke weed and I had like great sleep. There's times where I would smoke weed and I would go train and like I'd have a good training session, But I would kind of tell myself like, oh, like only do it like on the weekends or I'm only gonna do it at night. But I would just end up doing it every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I would tell myself like, oh, only this time, but I would just do it all the time, bro.
Yeah, I feel that. If I were to analyze it too, because like you're saying, there are good things about weed. But I think part of my issue is like I started too young, and I hear that like once you're like if you start once your brain is more developed when you're like 18 or 20, it's easier to kind of like maneuver the two, like being sober and then smoking weed. But I hear that when you start when you're pretty young, it like you kind of rely on it as your personality more. So it kind of affects like you almost have like imposter syndrome. Just speaking for my own self, I'm not speaking for you. But when did
Yeah.
you kind of start smoking weed?
I started after high school, actually. I started when I was 18,
Okay.
like 18,
Okay. Yeah. So
19.
you're more
But
developed.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but I was still like, yeah, I mean, you could say that, but I was still doing it. I still kind of fell into that, and I was doing it all the time. When I started smoking, and I started doing it like all the time. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, like So I kind of, and the people I was with, they were doing it, so like I was kind of just doing it every day after training, and eventually when I turned like 21, because you got to be like 21 in California, right, to like go to the cannabis store. So after I turned 21, that's when they really picked up. But before that, I was just doing it when other people had it because I couldn't buy it.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so it's just yeah. So I was just kind of doing it where if it was around, and every day we would train and people would have it. So I was doing it every day pretty much. But when I turned 21, that's when I started like buying my own pipes or my own wax pens and stuff like that. Like after I turned 21, and then yeah, I think like yeah, when does the brain stop developing? Like 25, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Maybe you would have been better off if you started like 21 or something like that. 25.
Maybe
Yeah.
something like that. But I'm
Yeah.
24 now, so I'm like, I still got like a year left. So I'm like, I'm gonna save these brain cells, bro. I still got
Yeah. I
I got
feel
a good
that.
year left, bro. Yeah,
I say that though because it seems like Sean O'Malley has a good relationship with the Kush. Like he doesn't have a hard time quitting and stuff for fights and whatnot. And
yeah,
I feel like it might be because he started in his like 20s or something.
I think so. Yeah, I think he started later. I heard interviews where he started later. I mean, good for him because I think on his pod he said he stops like 3 weeks before a fight. I believe
Yeah.
that's pretty good. That's almost like a month before the fight. You could just kind of quit and like not do it. So that's pretty dope. I mean, props to him. But for me, it was kind of hard for me to like kind of just stop. So I was doing it all the time. So, but yeah, good for him. That's
Facts.
pretty dope though. Yeah, just
Yeah,
something
it
like
is.
cool
It
to
is.